and cordially welcome to the webinar CODESYS for Users. My name is Roland Wagner, and I'm happy to be able to show you products and services which will help you to realize your IEC 61131 project more efficiently. The first step, a short overview on this webinar. So I will start with a short introduction, and then we will have three main parts that I want to show you. The first step, products, which are especially made for you as end users. Then trainings, in order to be able to work with CODESYS in a very efficient way. And, which is very new, CODESYS user consulting and development services. So now let's start with a short introduction. You're the end users. We are CODESYS, the CODESYS manufacturer. Usually we sell our software, as we do 100% software, to controller manufacturers. So our customers typically are manufacturers of devices for the automation industry. So this means they mainly produce hardware and implement a certain part of software. You see that on that pie chart here. Most of their work is hardware and a little part is software, whereas we deliver some big parts of that software. Now they sell you as the end users the whole system, and you work with these systems. So this means realizing a machine or an industrial plant or whatever, you will need the hardware from the device manufacturers and the software to configure and to program. So this means your work is divided in more or less hardware and software work. Now, as we are the software specialists, it's a good idea that we offer directly to you special add-on software which helps you in your work, or special add-on services which make your work with the software more efficiently. And this is the topic of that webinar right now. We want to show you these three parts that we offer you as CODESYS end users in order to strengthen your position, in order to give a little bit of our expertise to you. So with the first part, we take a look at the special products which are made for you as end users. Of course, the first product is within engineering, the CODESYS development system. This should be the standard software that you will be working with when programming an IEC 61131 project. The standard version is free of charge and can be downloaded from the CODESYS Store. Now this already contains almost everything in order to program applications in a professional way. Nevertheless, we have recently installed some add-ons products, the so-called CODESYS Professional Developer Edition, consisting of 5 independent products, which may help you to be more efficiently when programming and when engineering your application. So these products are listed up here. Profiler, this is an integrated measurement tool which finds out how much time your application parts will take on the controller. The CODESYS Test Manager, an integrated tool that allows for automated testing of the application by means of system tests or unit tests. CODESYS SVN, this allows for an integration of a subversion, access directly into CODESYS so that you can store your projects in an object-oriented way in the subversion database and can, for example, then work on a multi-user access on the same project. CODESYS UML is an add-on that allows for new editors, programming, for example, in the state chart diagram, or structuring your application, your object-oriented application with a class diagram. And the fifth is static analysis. This is an add-on tool which checks your application code for typical issues, problems, in addition to the compiler that, of course, checks for syntax errors. But here with the static analysis, you will have kind of 4 eyes principle, a tool that helps you to find critical areas on your code. So these are some add-on tools that help you in the engineering part. There are 2 more. The CODESYS Application Composer. This is a completely new tool which is on top of CODESYS but seamlessly integrated as all the others, and it helps you, instead of programming the application, to configure, yeah, even to compose an application. How can you do so? You will have predefined modules that describe special parts of an application, for example, mechatronic units, software units, and you just need to configure them together. And by clicking on a generator, out of these configured modules, the whole IEC 61131 application will be automatically generated and can be then downloaded to the PLC. The last tool and the category engineering is the CODESYS Depictor. It's an integrated 3-dimensional visualization which allows for first test of the application without having a machine or a physics or mechatronics right behind you. So it's just for a first approach to test everything. Add-on products are seamlessly integrated. They're just plugins into the CODESYS development system. Another category of product for end users are, of course, the controllers, the PLCs. Now, we said in the beginning that 3S Smart Software Solution is a pure software manufacturer. Therefore, we cannot offer you devices ourselves, and we will not do so. But what we can do and what we do is to list up all the customer devices that are available in the so-called CODESYS device directory under devices.codesys.com, or even easier, codesys.net. And if you go there, you get this device directory and you find a list of, at the moment, more than 300 different devices, and you can filter them by typical products or typical requests that you have, for example, field bus support, typical use cases, and so on. So this is an offer to device manufacturers as well as end users in order to bring them easier together. There's another offer concerning controllers. Again, we do not offer hardware, but what we offer right now are soft PLC systems for standard devices on the market. So the first one could be a soft PLC for any industrial PC running with Windows 7, 8, 10 or embedded. So one of them is called CODESYS Control RTE, a real-time extension soft PLC which makes out of your industrial PC a very high-level industrial PLC. Furthermore, we have some special soft PLC system for different platforms or series of devices, for example, for the Beckhoff CX devices, as you see them here, for the Vargo PFC 200 as real automation devices. And furthermore, we have two soft PLCs for typical boards, for example, for the Raspberry Pi, which is a very well-known board in educational and in the maker scene. And another one is the BeagleBone Black, which can be as well be equipped with a special housing in order to make a PLC out of it. So with these devices or boards and our soft PLC, you have a standard PLC in your hand which reacts as any other PLC. What are the benefits for such soft PLCs? One benefit is that you will always have the latest version with the latest features and patches on the software side running. Another big issue is that these soft PLCs come with an optimum field bus support, especially for Ethernet field buses. So you can, for example, use EtherCAT, Profinet, controller device, Ethernet IP, scanner, adapter without having a special field bus card or special chip on the device. The only thing you need is an open Ethernet port that you can, with our software, configure to be such a field bus master or slave. Furthermore, the soft PLCs are for gateway terminals to be extended. For example, you could have an EtherCAT network and put a Profibus gateway terminal inside and then extend your EtherCAT network to a Profibus network or to an IO-Link network or to a CAN-Open network. So this is as well possible and part of the soft PLC solutions or possibilities. Depending on the device, there might be some more functions, for example, integrated OPC UA server, integrated CAN support, CAN-Open, J1939 or Modbus. Then there are some other possibilities, for example, a web visualization or CODESYS soft motion. Of course, as you have to install that soft PLC manually on the devices, we from 3S Smart Software Solutions will directly support you in case of problems. There's another product for end users concerning the visualization possibilities inside of CODESYS. It's called CODESYS HMI SL. It's not yet released. It will be released next week with CODESYS version 3.5 Service Pack 10, which is just in the final testing. This tool is a PC-based visualization display for one or more controllers. So this means that you can, with this tool, visualize application data from CODESYS version 3 and CODESYS version 2 controllers in your machine or application. In the future, we will even implement an OPC UA client, so you can then visualize data from any OPC UA master or server device, so from any competitor's device. In fact, with that tool, you realize the visualization screens directly inside the CODESYS development system and can run that on a standard PC in a very simple way with an adapted view for visualization specialists. Furthermore, you find in the CODESYS Store a lot of IEC 61131 libraries or examples. For example, for communication, for file access, for any special purpose like date and time access, for can open examples or realizing multitasking switcher and so on. There are a lot of examples available. So everything is available in the CODESYS Store. So the CODESYS Store is the supply source for all these products that I've just mentioned. And of course you can access to it with a standard web browser. So I can type here in store.codesys.com or codesys.store, and I come to that CODESYS Store and can go to any of the products, for example the engineering part, go to the application composer, and as soon as I'm logged in I can immediately download the package, which will then be saved on your workstation PC and can then be installed in the CODESYS development system. It's even easier if you directly access out of the CODESYS development system. So there is a store button, you surely have seen that before, and if I click on it, then I get the same view and could go to engineering, and as soon as I'm logged in, I could, for example, directly access and download this add-on product, which will be then not saved on my workstation PC, but directly installed inside the CODESYS development system. So it's even easier to work with it, and in case I purchase the licenses for it, as well, the licensing can be immediately done in the same workflow. So this is a very good thing. As soon as you have installed such an add-on product, you have an integrated update concept. So the so-called package manager, which will be shown after the installation, you can see whether there are further updates available to products, and you can immediately, out of the CODESYS development system, update these packages. Then we already said that the products may be protected, and there may be as well time-limited versions available. You can even rate directly inside CODESYS the products that you've purchased and used. So now let's come from the first part of the products to the second part, to the training. We do training since more than 20 years, and we can really claim that this training pays off because you intensively learn in order to receive an optimum result. In order to do so, we have divided all the topics of the training into manageable modules. And in order to make it obvious what you receive in the training, there are combinations of these modules in standard trainings available. We'll see the whole list in a minute. There are two different modes for such training courses. The first mode is that you access to an open training here at our premises or somewhere else, where we offer an open training with one of these standard trainings. Or the other way around, which is used even more often, you can have a special training for you with a special prepared program where we can go very deeply to your special and specific problems. And this is as well an option. And of course the benefit is to supply you with a lot of knowledge in order to use all the possible features and functions of that tool, and we do that not only in presentations but with a lot of practical exercises in order to really give you the in-depth practice for that. Now here's the list of the standard trainings. Programming 1 is for beginners with CODESYS, for maintenance and commissioning engineers who are not that deep in the programming themselves, whereas Programming 2 is going more into the depth of the programming features. So if somebody has already some programming possibilities and knowledges, he could immediately start with Programming 2. But to be honest, check our brochure, CODESYS for Users, which is as well available on our website, and there you will get some more detailed information on programming. Nevertheless, I'll give you a brief overview. OOP is, of course, for object-oriented programming. So this shows you all the new possibilities to program your applications in an object-oriented way, with new keywords, with new methods. The next one, library development and documentation, is a little bit depending on object-oriented programming, because there we will show you how to realize good libraries, which means code that may be easily reused by other users in a way that it's obvious how the libraries work. So we will show you something about behavior models and even how to document the libraries directly in the source code. So there's even a possibility for that. We already mentioned the application composer. With the specified training for it, you will be trained in order to use modules for generating your application projects, and on the other hand, to generate the modules yourself in order to pack the information that you need into these modules that then somebody else, application or commissioning engineers on site, may use for the configuration and composing of the application. Training Soft Motion is of course for making you skilled for using the integrated CODESYS Soft Motion functionality from single axis to multi-axis, CAM, CNC and robotics. The last part is for the Professional Developer Edition tools, the application training for methodical application development with add-on products. Now, where do you get all these training courses? The easiest way is to join a public training, and you can go to training@codesys.com. So we go back to the store and see here that there is a training and events register card, and there you will see all the available trainings. You see there are quite a lot. So for example, if we go to that training library development and documentation, you see the location, you see the trainer, the timing, can insert the attendees' name and email addresses, the quantity, how many seats you want to book, and then add to cart, and then you receive a special confirmation and can then join these training courses. So this is for the standard public trainings. In case you want to have an individual training, please contact our trainers under training@codesys.com, and they can offer you a special time slot and special quotation for these training courses. Okay, now let's come to the third and last part of the offer that we have for you as CODESYS users. This is quite new, therefore it takes a little bit longer. It's the CODESYS User Consulting and Development Services. The first step, I give you an introduction and motivation for that part. Of course, everywhere CODESYS is somehow embedded into an existing infrastructure. So we might have a mechanical design with tools, electronic design with tools, we might have quality system processes, ERP systems, data storage systems, and somewhere in between there is CODESYS. Now this means that CODESYS is talking to different other software systems. We were often asked in the past, how can we do that in an optimum way? And this was the reason why we installed recently that CODESYS User Consulting and Development Services, because we immediately target to these questions. How can we work with CODESYS in an optimum way? So what can we offer? We may offer technical workshops and web support, typically on a very customized base. So at first step, we do that either in your location, in your premises, or in our premises, and we will sit together and accept and understand the issue. What's your problem? What's your idea? What do you want to realize more efficiently? Then we will search for and suggest implementation options. The last part is that we perform some basic implementation, or at least train you to do it yourself and approach the issues together. Of course, we can then further on support you with a web support, either in a continuous way or in a regular way or on request, in order to continue what we have already realized together in the workshop. The benefit is to solve your special issues and to boost up the development progress of your application. So it's really our goal to help you to be faster on the market and to be more efficiently when coming to the market. Now I want to show you a little overview of the typical use cases for such consulting and development services. The first use case is that we consult you on application and software architecture. You know, as we said in the beginning, we are a pure software company, so this means our engineers are 100% working with software. Therefore, we make a lot of thinking on architecture, on structuring of the software, and this expertise is something that we can pass over to you in the form of a consulting. So we can help you to structure the application in a way that the right implementation languages are used. Perhaps you will be more efficiently by using functions such as soft motion, the visualization or feed bus functions, or the onboard diagnosis. Perhaps we even find out that you could speed up your engineering process by using add-on products such as the CODESYS application composer, but only if it makes sense, of course. The idea is to consult you to avoid typical application errors and thus to be much faster ready with the application. And you can imagine that in case the software, the application software is structured in a good way, the commissioning, operation and maintenance is much easier, and this means that the investment of some days of service for such an application software architecture consulting may be paid off very, very quickly. Especially when you imagine that, for example, your application should be extended on customer's request during runtime later on. If the structure is already prepared for it, this is much easier and you avoid redesign of the application. Another typical request that we have received is a toolchain optimization. Yeah, if you work with CODESYS, you have, of course, the toolchain already inside the tool. Yeah, you have the compiler, you we have the development system, but how can we optimize that in order to have a kind of continuous integration process? We can consult you with our own experience because we do the same thing with our software. For example, if you use a build server, which does automated continuous compiling of the CODESYS project and the library functions, perhaps even with automated check of the source code for compiler errors, static problem errors, and the code and application errors. So in order that you have a high quality of the code that you realize. We can even consult you how to generate the integrated documentation or online help modules from the source code. So this means that you can benefit from IT processes that we know by heart and that we can help you to implement on your application development process. Another typical use case, feasibility analysis and effort estimates. It may happen that you as a machine builder or application engineer get a very interesting potential customer with a very complex task definition. So this means you are interested to do that, but you're not sure whether it's possible to realize it. So therefore we could assist you with a kind of feasibility analysis and check the task definition by internal means, by onboard means, or by external means in order to see whether the objective is really possible to solve. We can, for example, do some surveys, for example, to realize some performance data. In case it's necessary, it makes sense. We could even develop some prototype plugins, so seamlessly integrated add-ons in order to make the whole project possible at all. Or we could start with a prototyping of the IC 61131 application, for example, for trade fair demonstrations or for customer demonstrations or something like that. What we won't do is the complete application development. For this purpose, there are some CODESYS system partners around. Please check our website in case you need somebody who does that to the final application on the machine, but we can help you to start in the right way. So the idea is to have a faster and more reliable result and a risk minimization. Best practice consulting. This is something you could typically look for after a CODESYS training. With a CODESYS training, you are trained to use CODESYS in the right way, to use the editors, to use the add-on functionalities, but how to do that in the best way. This is part of that best practice consulting, where we show you which implementation languages could be ideal for your specific application, perhaps how the visualization function could be useful for you, or motion control. Does it make sense? And in case yes, how could you solve your motion control application in a CNC or robotic application in the best way by means of the integrated motion functionality? How could you configure the field bus system and diagnose it by the onboard means? The idea with this best practice consulting is, again, to optimize your engineering and to have an optimized machine and system performance. Because if you do that from the scratch in an optimized way, then you can, of course, avoid a lot of performance loss. Object-oriented programming. Yes, we already mentioned that as part of the training program. Now, after such a training, you might be motivated to program with the possibilities that CODESYS offers in the object-oriented programming. Nevertheless, you could make beginners' mistakes and obstacles. Therefore, this consulting would help you as a follow-up to the training course how to application-specifically apply the available options in the best way. Perhaps even to have a mix of functional and object-oriented programming methods, for example, by separating the code into libraries. So we could show you how to have object-oriented based library designs with integrated behavior model as a follow-up of the training, as mentioned before. And we could consult you how to optimize the generate application code in the way you programmed it. So again, the goal is to have a more efficient engineering to save your precious time during engineering. In the beginning of that part, we said that CODESYS is typically embedded into an existing infrastructure. With the consulting for embedding CODESYS, we will help you to have good interfaces, for example, to other systems such as ePlan, MATLAB Simulink, ERP systems. So we could show you how to use the existing drivers and interfaces, or we could develop special drivers or interfaces in case such interfaces are not yet available for your specific system. We could even give you recommendations for linking to your ERP systems and processes in the best way. So the idea is that you have a seamless integration of CODESYS into your whole infrastructure in order to receive fast results without a lot of trial and error iterations. Premium support. This is as well an option of that CODESYS user consulting and development services. Of course, we offer a support hotline with a team of 5, 6, 7 engineers, but at first step, you should, as a user, consult your device manufacturer in order to get support for the device. But it may happen that you have very highly sophisticated applications, or that you have a very narrow time frame for the application development or commissioning, or which is as well possible sometimes that you have very critical customers. Then it could make sense to look for such a premium support from our side, which will guide you for the application development and issues and be available at any time during the distribution, during the commissioning, in order to have satisfied customers, an improved image by means of a functional delivery. And of course, a very big issue is of course to reduce contract penalties because you run out of time during the development. So this is something where we can help and assist you. Last but not least, we will have the offer of an application optimization. Imagine that you have a highly sophisticated machine with limited resources on the controller side. Now it may happen that you have to extend a little bit this application and you find out, oh, now my application is really running to the limits of the controller. What can we do? We can help you with the optimization of the application by an analysis of the existing CODESYS logic applications, or the motion or visualization parts, and we could give you recommendations for the process and performance optimization. And in case you want it, we can even implement parts of these recommendations and evaluate the results of the measures in order to avoid redesign, in order to avoid having to replace the controller or run into severe problems during runtime of the application. Good, you see there are a lot of typical use cases for this CODESYS user consulting development services. I'm coming to the end and want to make a short conclusion. It's your decision whether you want to benefit from the offer that you give you in case of add-on products, which may significantly speed up the engineering of automation tasks. It's your decision whether you want to be trained or do the training yourself. Of course, the CODESYS products are made that you could easily work without training, but in most cases it's much faster and more efficient in case you use such a training course. And we can offer that as the manufacturer of CODESYS. So we are the experts for CODESYS, of course. Furthermore, we can offer you to benefit from the wealth of experience, for instance, about the architecture or process flow in the software development. And our team is really experienced with a wide range of software development and, of course, with the CODESYS features and products. So the objective is to establish a competitive application for your benefit of the market. Therefore, this whole range of offers is an answer to the demand of numerous machine manufacturers and system constructors. So on the last slide will be some references. You see, this is just a very short excerpt of the reference list in case we count up all the trainings we already did in the past, all the customers of the CODESYS Store which have already benefits from the add-on products there. The list would be over several pages. Now, at the end of the presentation, I thank you for the attention, and I would be pleased in case you benefit from the offer. You can directly access to us, get quotations, get products in order to speed up your work. Bye-bye.